another day today. Last night I finished at about 11:30 or so, and I'm about 60–70% there on the top floor with the kind of destructive phase, so kind of stripping everything out. The wallpaper is taking a lot longer than I thought because I'm trying not to damage the lime plaster, which I didn't think would be a problem, but actually the power of the steamer I think is causing problems. I've managed to find the old garden sprayer, and we used this when we did the lime plaster. That's why it's covered in plaster still. But I'm hoping that this will last a lot longer and it'll be a lot easier to spray all the walls down. That'll be enough. I'm hoping with the ceilings it's going to be a far easier way of doing it, because I just can't afford to damage the lime plaster, because once that starts coming down we're going to have problems. So I steamed the first wall, and that's where it started kind of lifting the lime plaster a bit. Whereas this wall, all the way along, I've scraped off using the wet method. And I'm pretty happy with that. It's certainly a lot easier than the little hand bottle I had last night. I think the key with this spraying is just to be patient. You know, do it, leave it for a few minutes, come back. And I've been scoring the paper a little bit with a Stanley knife where possible. So that's now a couple of sprays spread out over 5 minutes. And as you can see, the stuff just pulls right off. So I stripped off the wallpaper, and as I thought would be the case, I can clearly see where the old architrave used to come to, which would have been the original and which matches up with the inside of the rooms. Here is where the kind of 60s, 70s retro thin strip one was. Taking those out, and obviously we're putting the new architraves back in. You can see there how it's pretty close. It's probably about 10mm smaller than what was there originally. Quick walk around, that's how we're looking so far. I'm really surprised how well the walls have held up. These are all just lime, they've never been skimmed, which is kind of making me want to leave them alone and just paint, but there are quite a lot of cracks and there's a little bit of movement in the wall. So where needed, I'm going to chip out any loose and kind of use a bit of bonding to fix that. These are all internal walls. What's going on? So I've got to top up my sprayer, and I've run out of the wallpaper fluid, the stripper, but I'm led to believe that fabric conditioner, like Comfort or Tesco's, does the job as well. We'll see how that works. Whew. And the house will be smelling summer fresh. So there's still some work to do on the ceiling upstairs, but what I'm going to do is spray the staircase first, which means that I can kind of leave this to soak in a bit, go back, and then, you know, just kind of multitask a bit. If you get it right, the actual scraping of the wallpaper is far quicker than the steaming. And you've got two hands as well, so you can put nice pressure on the front of the scraper. Make sure you don't gouge anything. And that's pretty much, that lime plaster is cold and pretty much dry, which is perfect, because it means we haven't damaged that at all. Hasn't taken this off. I can see evidence of a dado rail or something similar coming down here, which is what we're going to put back in as well. So we're doing well so far at guessing what this place used to look like. Now the fun bit. Okay, I'm going to move back downstairs now. I haven't quite finished upstairs, but I need a bit of a change of scenery. Oh, mind the camera. Now I'm downstairs and below the lab and plaster wall, so I'm going to move on to the this wall here, which is a brick wall, still lime plaster, but I'm going to use a steamer for that bit, just because I don't really want water trickling everywhere, especially because I've got the new doors already fitted here. So I'm flying through it now. I've got all this section steamed off. Seemed to work okay, that steamer, and didn't cause any of the plaster to blow. So much patching and things in the past, you can see here. All this is dead, obviously that cable there needs to be cut out, and that box needs to come out as well and be filled. The old plasterwork seems to be in fairly good nick. There's a little notch out the corner there and a few cracks further around. That should be fine to repair. A big moment, all these plans have been up here for 2 years now. Grown to love them, but I'm actually going to keep them because it's quite a good way of seeing where all the cabling went. So if we ever do need to in the future, I can dig them out of the safe and have a look. Up here, all seems pretty solid. It's when it gets to about that level actually. A rough line there, and I'll make sure that I kind of leave the bit above it as well, and we'll do that carefully with some water. But I think we should be right to steam up here. So things are speeding up a bit now. Last section of wall, and then we've got to take off the bottom of the brick wall and then start the ceiling. From the original plans, we've always known that this is a non-original wall. It's actually a concrete block wall, and it's just solid gypsum on it. And this is the one where we knocked down the other half of it in the kitchen. It's completely non-supporting. There used to be a doorway that went through here to the side of the house. Tell you what, they love their wall lights. Every one of these walls has some sort of chasing in it to an old light. Right, time for some more investigating. I think this is probably originally visible, this bit here. And one reason I think that is there's a wooden, I guess it's a door frame really, that's on the brick wall there, and that's original because I can see where it's fixed into the brickwork, and it's got it's had hinges mortised into it as well. So I think there was originally a door here to an understairs cupboard, which would explain why this was painted, and then below it is not painted. I'll take the frame out. Bit of firewood for tonight. And it's quite easy to tell what's original and what's not by the nails that they've used. So any of these little panel pins in the hardboard, if there's hardboard, you obviously know that's not original. But a lot of the nails, if they're kind of polished with a proper round head on them, they're not the original ones, because all the original ones in this house at least are kind of the cut clasp nails. So if I show you, don't know if you can make that out, that's just a normal steel round head nail. And those I haven't seen anywhere in the house, certainly in the original stuff. So that is, none of that's original. Well, I'm making the right mess now, but I've got the bug of discovery now. Joe did say to me, whatever you do, don't take the stairs apart. But under here is the original stringer, and I don't think it was like an open tread staircase. It might have been, you know, where the treads of the stairs overhang, which would have been nice. But there's like a chamfer on this stringer, so it clearly was varnished and it was visible in the past. So let's rip off this bit of plywood and see what they've covered up. I had a sneaky suspicion this was the case, and basically what's happened is these people who've renovated this house in the past decided they cut off all of the nice period features and then slap on a gloss white bit of plywood. I'll give you a close-up just to show you what I mean. So I'm no expert with staircases, but I'm pretty sure what used to be here was an overlap of the tread. So the actual tread of the stairs overlapped, or at least there was a trim piece on the end of it, so it had its own kind of bullnose overhanging the stringer. They've cut that off, or ripped it off, put these little triangles of softwood in here, and then there's more plywood and more hardboard on the other side of that I can see. So I imagine what it used to be was open tread stairs, and the spindles came down into the middle of each tread, which is really nice, and or maybe there were two, but that's exactly the style that that I wanted, and I just wonder if we can, well, we're going to do our best to get it back there, I guess. You can see there was a kind of a bullnose piece that sat on the end of it, and this whole ghastly metal railing, which will be gone soon, is sat on top of triangles which are infilling each step. So it would be great if we can put this bit of moulding back on the end of each tread, and then when we come to the spindles we'll drop them into the treads, and I might have a little pick in a minute and see under the carpet or under one of these triangles whether there are little mortises where the spindles used to go. Alright, so maybe I should have left that for another day. It's not very pretty, is it? I think to keep everyone happy we might have to screw that bit of plywood back on here. At least it was clean and tidy that way. Time for more radiator removal. I've been looking for those. Bought these the week we moved in, 2 years ago, and I lost them. These are little oak roses that'll they're machined to fit around the radiator pipes. So on the wooden floors you can get a nice finish where the pipe goes down through the floor. Right, I still haven't worked out quite how we're going to manage to cap these copper pipes off. They come through the brick wall from the other subfloor, and at the time when we had the floor up next door I didn't realise we were going to get rid of this radiator, so we're going to have to be careful we don't mess them around a bit. Yep, definitely time for a multi-tool. Okay, with the radiator out now, I can get this bit of plaster off. Stick to my plan of cutting a line across here and just trying to lift the whole thing off as one. That's why I've left the wallpaper on there. And I'm going to go as far as measuring up the same amount each side with my measuring stick, so that when I come to put the plasterboard in there, it's going to stay square or squarish. Doesn't get much cleaner than that with lime. Normally there'd be dust clouds everywhere, so I'll call that a success. Another thing I've noticed while stripping all the walls is that I think all the woodwork around the doors was all stained. There's a really dark varnish on the stair parts that I've just uncovered. Some of the old doors that we took out, although they'd been boarded over with hardboard as well, they had a dark varnish under. But looking on this lime plaster, you can see a dark strip, dark brown, and I think that's probably where they varnished the doors before hanging the wallpaper. Pieces came off fairly clean, the wallpaper held it together. There's a strip down here which is cement and sand render, so that's pretty stubborn and I'm going to have to chip that off in a minute with a cold chisel. Little bit to take off down there, but I think everything above this cut line is pretty much solid, or certainly solid enough. So I'm going to have a little play around with a offcut of plasterboard now, and I think that's probably the best way to go. This top window light up here above the door, I'm going to board over that completely, and that way when it's skimmed it will look the same as the other doors over here. And then I need to have a look at the understairs area, whether I choose to build out some stud work now and plasterboard it, or whether we look at kind of using that pine panelling that we found there, get some more of that tongue and groove. So might have to speak to Jo on that one to see what her opinion is. But we're getting there slowly. This time next week this place will be transformed, hopefully. Well, it'll be skimmed. Maybe I have left myself too much to do before Christmas.